There's a pretty sad story about the Green Man in Pennsylvania. Raymond Ray Robinson was born in 1910 and lived in Pennsylvania. As a kid, he got horribly disfigured by an electrical accident. Because of the way he looked, he only went for walks at night. People started calling him the Green Man or Charlie No-Face. Stories about him got passed down for generations and became local folklore. But in reality, Ray was just a guy who wanted to live his life in peace. Back in the 60s, near my hometown, there were rumors about a secret commune of rich hippies living deep in the woods. People said they had big houses, horses, and crazy parties, but one day the whole group just vanished. They left behind everything: furniture, dishes, even expensive clothes and TVs. A few years ago, I found the place by accident. Old road, overgrown, not even on Google Maps. Inside, it looked like everyone just walked out and never came back. The houses were still full of stuff. Nobody knows for sure what happened. Some think it was a police raid or something bad inside the group, but the truth is still a mystery. Elmer McCurdy was a real outlaw, a bank and train robber killed back in 1911. After he died, his body was embalmed and taken on tour around the country as a sideshow attraction. Believe it or not, he even appeared in a few movies in the 1960s as a dummy. But eventually, his body got lost. Years later, the TV crew was filming in an amusement park and noticed something weird. While moving the mannequin, its arm fell off and inside, there was an actual bone. They called the police and discovered the mannequin was actually Elmer McCurdy's mummified body. Now McCurdy is finally buried in Guthrie, Oklahoma. The Great Potato Salad disaster of '76 happened in a little Alabama town. It was the middle of July, super hot, and everyone from the Southern Baptist Church was out for a summer picnic. Somebody's husband decided to save time by putting the potato salad in the trunk of the car the night before, instead of the fridge. He didn't know you're supposed to refrigerate that stuff. The next day, he set the salad out on the potluck table and everyone dug in. About an hour later, chaos broke loose. People were running for the outhouses, the bushes, even their own cars trying to make it home. My grandpa was the guy who brought the potato salad. He didn't eat any, but my grandma still reminds him about it, especially since they got kicked out of the church. There's an urban legend about a burglar who fell through a skylight, sued the homeowner, and actually won the lawsuit. The truth, it wasn't really a burglar. It was a drug addict trying to get from one rooftop to another. He fell and broke through a skylight, but survived the fall. He didn't win in court. The insurance company just settled quietly to avoid a messy trial. No big courtroom drama. Just a quick payout behind the scenes. In my college town, there was this homeless guy everyone knew. He always wore a black suit. He stood out because he never wore a shirt, always barefoot, and never carried bags or a shopping cart. Over time, rumors started spreading that he was a famous artist whose paintings sold for thousands of dollars. Some people said he had a secret benefactor who took care of him, but he chose to live on the streets. Most people, including me, didn't really believe the stories. But then, I met someone who actually knew his name, William Laga. In the UK, people have been talking for years about seeing huge black cats in the wild, like panthers. Most folks thought it was just a local legend. But recently, DNA evidence proved big cats really do live out there. Turns out, back in the 1980s, after exotic pet laws changed, a bunch of owners just let their big cats loose in the countryside. Some people even knew neighbors who kept panthers, and one day the cats were just gone. Now, every so often, someone still spots a giant black cat roaming the British countryside. After the Battle of Shiloh in the Civil War, some wounded soldiers were said to glow with a blue-green light at night. People called it Angel's Glow, and those soldiers actually healed better than the others. For years, folks thought it was a miracle, maybe even something supernatural. But scientists later figured out it was caused by a kind of bioluminescent bacteria that helped fight infection. I always thought the stories about a Ku Klux Klan camp in my county were just creepy urban legends. But one day I started digging through old maps and property records out of curiosity. That's when I actually found proof the spot really existed, hidden deep in the woods. You could still find the old site if you know where to look. When I was a kid growing up near Cincinnati, everyone talked about this old guy who wore a clown collar, a hard hat, and a construction worker outfit. He'd ride public buses all day, wander construction sites, and just stand around for hours in costume. Most people were kind of creeped out by him, but he never said a word to anyone. Sometimes he'd disappear for weeks. Then suddenly you'd see him standing completely still in front of a store or riding the bus, just staring straight ahead. Years later, I found out his name was Raymond Thunderski. He became such a local legend that the city even put up a silver statue of him in Covington, Kentucky.